300 years ago, when Catalaya became empress, the first and only Dunmer to rule all of Tamriel, she faced opposition from the Imperial Council, even after she convinced them that she would be the best regent to rule the empire while her husband Pelagius sought treatment for his madness. There was still conflict. In particular from the Duke of Venghitu, Thane Mingumaya, who took a particular delight in exposing all of the Empress's lack of practical knowledge. In this particular instance, Kataraya and the council were discussing the unrest in Blackmarsh and the massacre of the Imperial troops outside the village of Amantius. The sodden swampland and the sweltering climate, particular in summertide, would endanger the troops if they were to wear their usual armor. I know, a very clever armorer, said Kataraya. His name is Hazadir, an Anconian, who knows the environments our army will be facing. I knew him in Vivek, where he was a slave to the master armorer there, before he moved to the Imperial City as a freed man. We should have him design the armor and weaponry for this campaign. Minglamaya gave a short, barking laugh. She wants a slave to design the armor and weaponry for our troops. Sorola Sactus is the finest armorer in the Imperial City. Everyone knows that. After much debate, it was finally decided to have both armorers contend for the commission. The council also elected 2 champions of equal power and prowess, Nandor Bereid and Raphalis Ilu, to battle using the arms and armaments of the real competitors in the struggle. Whichever champion won, the armorer who supplied him would earn the Imperial Commission. It was decided that Bereid would be outfitted by Hazadir and Ulu by Sactus. The fight was scheduled to commence in 7 days. Sorola Sactus began work immediately. He would have preferred more time, but he recognized the nature of the test. The situation in Armanus was urgent. The Empire had selected their armorer quickly, and once selected, the preferred armorer had to act swiftly and produce the finest armor and weaponry for the Imperial Army in Blackmarsh. It wasn't just the best armor they were looking for, it was the most efficient. Sactus had only begun steaming the half-inch strips of the black virgin oak to bend the bands of the flanges of the armor joints, when there was a knock at his door. His assistant ushered in the visitor. It was a tall reptilian of common markings, a dull green fringe hood, bright black eyes, and a dull brown coat. It was Hazadir, Kataraya's preferred armorer. I wanted to wish you the best of luck, Envy. Is that ebony? It was indeed. Sactus had brought the finest quality ebony weave available in the Imperial City as soon as he had heard of the competition and had begun the process of smelting it. Normally, it was only a 6-month procedure refining the ore, but he had hoped that the massive convection oven stoked by white flames born of Magicka would shorten the operation to 3 days. Sactus proudly pointed out the other advancements in his armory. The acidic lime pools to sharpen the blade of the dai katana to an unimaginable degree of sharpness. The Akaviri forge and tongs he would use to fold the ebony back and forth upon itself. Hazadir laughed. Have you been to my armory? It's only 2 tiny smoke-filled rooms. The front is a shop, the back is filled with broken armor, summer hammers, and a forge. That's it. That's your competition for millions of gold pieces in the Imperial Commission. I'm sure the Empress has some reason to trust you to outfit her troops, said Cerolius Sactus kindly. He had, after all, seen the shop, and knew what Hazadir said was true. It was a pathetic workshop in the slums, fit only for the lowliest of adventurers to get their iron daggers and cuirasses repaired. Sactus had decided to make the best quality, regardless of the inferiority of his rival. It was his way, and how he became the best armorer in the Imperial City. Out of kindness, and more than a bit of pride, Sactus showed Hesidia how, by contrast, things should be done in a real, professional armory. The Argonian acted as an apprentice to Sactus, helping him refine the ebony ore and to pound it and fold it when it cooled. Over the next several days, they worked together to create a beautiful dye katana with an edge honed sharp enough to trim a mosquito's eyebrows, enchanted with flames along its length by one of the Imperial battle mages, as well as a suit of armor of bound wood, leather, silver, and ebony to resist the winds of oblivion. On the day of the battle, Sactus and Hesidia finished polishing the armor and brought Raphaelus Elu for their fitting. Hesidia left only then, realizing that Nandor Berade would be at his shop shortly to be outfitted. The two warriors met before the Empress and the Imperial Council in the arena, which had been flooded slightly to simulate the swampy conditions of Black Marsh. From the moment Sactus saw Elu in his suit of heavy ebony and blazing dye katana, and Berade in his collection of dusty, rusted lizard scales and a spear from Hesidia's shop, he knew who would win. And he was right. The first blow from the dye katana lodged in Berade's soft shield, as there was no metal trim to deflect it. Before Elu could pull his sword back, Berade let go of the now flaming shield, still stuck on the sword, and poked at the joints of Elu's ebony armor with his spear. Elu finally retrieved his sword from the now ruined shield and slashed at Berade, but his light armor was scaled and angled, and the attacks rolled off into the water, extinguishing the dyed katana's flames. When Berade struck at Elu's feet, he fell into the churned mud and was unable to move. The Empress, out of mercy, called a victor. Hesidia received their commission, and thanks to his knowledge of Argonian battle tactics and weaponry, and how best to combat them, he designed implements of war that brought down the insurrection in Armadis. Kataraya won the respect of the council, and even grudgingly that of famed Minglamar. Sorolla Sactus went to Morrowind to learn what Hesidia learned there, and was never heard from again.